In February 2021, Glide redesigned their app builder and it looks a whole lot different now. So let's take a look at what has changed. Let's compare it with the old UI versus the new UI and see what has changed in February 2021. First, let's take a look at the general navigation and then how you would add tabs. So for the general navigation in the old UI, so I have a picture of the old UI here on my screen right now. I can see that here on the left there's all these navigation tabs, all these menu items, which has now changed. So if I move on to the new UI, which is on go.glideapps.com, I can see that the navigation is moved on the top. So on top I have 3 different menu items to move to 3 different screens. Now back to the old UI, I can see that to add a new tab or to configure a tab, I would have to click on the second menu item here, which is the one for tabs, and then on the right a blade opens up, a screen opens up where I'm able to configure a tab, I'm able to add a new tab, and I'm also able to delete a tab should I want to. Now if you go to the new UI, for tabs you just have to click on the main layout menu item here on the top, and that's pretty much where you'll be for almost most of the time while using Glide apps. And on the left hand side you'll see the tabs menu items right here, and you can easily switch between them, and whatever you click from here on the right you have your tab configurations right here on the screen, so you don't have to go to another screen and then go back when you're done. It's all readily available. And in general, in the new UI, the navigation flow is you move from left to right. So on the left you will see a few items that you can click on, like for example at this particular tab, and then on the right you configure whatever you clicked on the left, right? So you configure the stuff on the right and you select stuff on the left. Next, let's take a look at layouts and components. So on the old UI, whenever you open up a screen, you can see the layouts and components right here on the right. And in this case what happens is the style of that particular screen shows up at the top, and the components on how to configure this particular screen shows up at the bottom. If you click on any one of those items and go onto the details screen, you can see that these components now show up, and to configure each of these components, so like if I wanted to configure this particular image, I would have to click on this image component right here, which would open up another screen, and I would configure that and then click on this back icon. So there's 2-3 screens layered on top of each other, and if you wanted to go back to the home screen, you would have to just keep on clicking back. Now what has changed in this particular UI is that if I go back to destinations, I can see that to configure this particular screen, I know that these styles can be configured here on the right, and this itself is a component which is an inline list. So this is something new, this wasn't there before. And if you click on any one of these items, I go onto the details screen, but now you see that the components, the individual components like image, text, all of that, it has moved from the right hand side to the left, and now I can click on image for example, and then that configuration shows up on the right. And then the configuration itself sort of remains the same, but it's just that the user experience, right? So the components have moved to the left, and then I can click things on the left, and then I can configure things on the right. Now if you want to go back to the home page, to the very first page, you don't have to keep on clicking back. What you notice is that there's a breadcrumb menu here, so I can go either just to the one before, or I can go to the home page with just a click of a button. So this is a nice improvement to the new Glide apps UI. In the old Glide UI, if you wanted to have a look at your spreadsheet, the information in your spreadsheet, from the app itself, you would have to click on the data tab here on the left, and then that would open up the spreadsheet within Glide apps itself, and each tab in that spreadsheet would show up here at the bottom. And of course you can select the contents, you can update the contents, you can even add a column from here. And if you let's say if you made your changes in the Google spreadsheet and wanted to update your app, you would have to click on the refresh icon here at the bottom left. And if you wanted to open up the spreadsheet, Google spreadsheet, and edit the source itself, you would have to click on the pencil icon here. Now these things have changed in the new Glide UI. You click on the first menu item, which is this little table icon here. This will open up your spreadsheet view. Now the view itself sort of remains the same. You still have your rows and columns, and if you wanted to add a new column, you click on the plus icon here on the top right. The tabs in the spreadsheet, instead of showing at the bottom, now show on the left. So again, you have the same select things on the left and configure things on the right workflow. And of course, if you wanted to refresh the contents in your spreadsheet in Glide apps, you just click on the refresh icon here at the bottom. And if you wanted to edit the source, the Google spreadsheet itself, you click on the little icon here, little option here, action button here on the bottom left. And finally, for the settings, in the old Glide UI, you would have to click on the little gear icon here on the left, so then the one where my red arrow is, and then that would open up a panel from the right, and the red arrow shows the screen that you need to edit. So you have to click on this, and then one more screen opens up right on top, and so you have again the layered screens, layered configurations that you would need to find your way around. If you wanted to preview your app as someone else, you would have to follow this yellow arrow and click on this little icon here, which would then allow you to enter another person's email address and view the app from as that person. And finally, where my purple arrow is, it shows you the upgrade and publish icons. Upgrade is if you wanted to upgrade from a free plan to a paid plan, and publish is where what you would click to publish your app to make it go live. Now these things have changed, so we'll just take a look at all of these three items in the new Glide UI. So if you go back to the new Glide UI, to view the settings, you would have to click on the third item from the navigation menu item here on the top. This little settings icon brings in the settings panel from the right. It still flies from the right, but now the difference is that both the screens show up together. Earlier the appearance, so this screen here would show up on top of this main settings screen, and so you have to go back and forth, but now you can literally click things here on the left, and on the right you would actually find the options to update that particular setting. So this is nice, you don't have to go back and forth. To view your app as another person, you would have to click on this little icon here. So that has sort of moved away from the main menu, and it has moved into the screen itself. So you can click on that and change the viewer as another user, and then look at how that person would view your app. But it's not just your app. If you click on the data, for example, you can also view this data as another person and see how that person would view this particular screen. And finally, we have the upgrade and publish or share button. So that has moved to the top right. So upgrade is if you want to upgrade it to a different account, upgrade it to a different plan, and share is because I've already published the app, so now it's just asking me to share. But if you click on it, it will still allow you to change your app link, and even send it to other people, share it with other people. So those buttons have moved to the top right. So this was a quick tour of the new UI versus what the old UI looks like, and just a quick video just to show the difference between both the UIs, and in the Redesigned app, where do you find those things. So I hope you liked the video, and do subscribe, do like, share, and comment on this video, and let me know what you think about it.